Welcome to Evolution in Controls. I'm your host, Tim Wilson. Thank you for joining us. If there is one thing that is constant about technology, it's that it's going to change, and the pace of that change seems to ever accelerate. But an unspoken consequence of this trend is that product obsolescence follows the technological change. What happens when a machine that is designed with a 30-year life is now equipped with out-of-date components? It's not a problem until those components fail. And what then? The options seem limited. Repair the component or find an obsolete replacement. Think eBay. In either case, the costs begin climbing quickly. At what point does the machine become unserviceable and therefore unusable? Are there other options? Fortunately, machines can be changed instead of replacing them, but that brings its own set of problems. Here to talk us through this process is John Jackson, Business Development Manager for Morrell Group's integration company, Stegner Controls. John, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Tim.
So let's talk about this. Is this a real-life problem? Are companies faced with this? And is it getting better or is it getting worse?
It's getting better. The opportunity for Morrell and Stegner is it's outstanding right now because the equipment in many cases is 20 to 30 years old. The product and architectures are definitely outdated, and the places are running, and they're keeping the places barely running. And then we step in and we offer a solution that gets them up to today's standard, and it does it fairly economically. And the new architectures bring all the advantages that technology has gained over the last 20 years. So they basically take an old piece of equipment and it's brand new when we're done.
So when you say it's getting better, you really mean that there's more and more opportunities for us to come in and work on.
Absolutely.
So that means that the problem is growing, that the obsolescence of product is getting bigger and bigger.
Yes. And one of the good things about Bosch Rexroth is that the equipment lasts forever, and they forget, and there's many cases where they don't even stock spare parts because they have not broken down like some other competitive products have. So they get into these situations where they've rolled the dice through obsolescence, and then I was at an account last week where the customer was buying everything off eBay. eBay's going to run out at some point. And what are you getting on eBay? Is it warranted? Is it, so we're offering a solution that it's beyond just replacing the components. It's an architecture upgrade, and customers are very happy with what we're doing.
So what problems are the manufacturers or the end users? What problems are they facing?
Generally downtime. The drives, the motors will start failing. They'll be failing periodically. They'll be able to do some routine maintenance to keep them running along, and then they're in trouble. When they're in trouble, they go down, and in a lot of these cases, these are smaller. The roll feeds are smaller stamping presses, so a typical facility will have 100 presses. So they have the ability to move. If a press is down, they can move the work over to a neighboring press. At some point, they run out of neighboring presses, though. So that's where we come in, and we can really help them increase their productivity.
Why roll feed, and why not just replace the machine? Or why retrofit a roll feed and not just replace the machine?
It's a huge expense to replace the mechanical equipment. The mechanical equipment generally is still in pretty good shape if they've done their routine maintenance. The controls architecture is where the failures exist, and it's just like anything else. After 15, 20 years, it's going to start wearing out, and you have speed issues. Speed's probably the number one thing that when we do an upgrade, all of a sudden everything's running at a very high speed, and it's when you're stamping 2,000 parts a day, if you're able to do them maybe 0.2 of a second faster in each one, that's a noticeable productivity gain, and a lot of that is just the speed of the new architecture.
So it's not just technological change and obsolescence, it's the fact that production cycles are getting faster and faster?
Correct. The name of the business is productivity, keeping their costs down. they don't, when they're selling their services to their customers, they're not necessarily quoting Saturdays, second shift, third shift, and those are all losers for them. In today's environment, also they have the competitive steel marketplace where it's all over the map for them. So any cost savings that they can generate it's critical. It's critical to their future.
So, retrofitting a roll feed machine, this is not a plug and play. It's not like taking one off and putting something else on, is it? Is it
No,
component for component?
In there, what we've done is we've developed a kit that is pretty universal for all the Rexroth upgrades, and we've developed with one of our partners. We've developed a HMI screen that is very user friendly. That they not only get the gains of the new architecture, but they get a very user friendly environment. For instance, most of them only have the capability of holding 9 recipes, and they can hold 999. So that means they can move this equipment around. It's relatively portable. The systems can be moved, and that's the other option we're giving them, is the universal approach to their entire facility.
So there's some benefits that the new technology brings to the machine when you put the new technology on.
Absolutely. It's greater productivity, better technology, helps their quality. There's quite a few different.
What's the process? Do we go out and find them, or are people reaching out to us because they're having problems?
It's both. The ones that we've had our success with, we knocked on their door first. We went in there, we looked at it. Our Bosch Rexroth product manager went in, and he said, this is an opportunity. They have 75 of these presses here. Every one of them was obsolete. Mm-hmm. So it was more...
Was the company having problems given that they were all obsolete?
Absolutely. Yes, there was excessive downtime. And to the point, they have their parent companies in China, and they had the ability they're moving some work over to China just to keep up.
Because they couldn't get replacement parts, or they couldn't get service?
Yes, and the machines in China were newer, and so but there's a shipping cost associated. All the product is going to the U.S., so moving into China was not necessarily the good move. So we've helped them overcome that. We had to walk our talk first. We had to prove ourselves. We went in and we turned the machine on, and literally it took off the first hit.
So what's the process? Is it one person that goes out, or?
Generally, I've been going out, and we have basically a survey that I take, and I look at the model numbers. I get all the tag information, which is crawling around in the machine, finding tags. A lot of them are, like you said, 20 years old, so they're not always available.
So the 20 years old, they came out when you were a middle-aged guy then?
Yeah.
And you're crawling around now you can't find a younger guy to crawl around on the machine?
I'd love to, but the younger guys don't seem to want to do it like I do.
So you pull all the information. What do you do with it then?
We bring it back here, and I sit down with our hardware design team, our software design team, and say, we have a retrofit. This is a candidate for a kit or not, and then we react from there.
So it's not just as simple as a part number replacement. There's some custom design in it.
Yes, there's around 40 hours of hardware design, 40 hours of software design in each one. Each job is a little bit unique in what they're doing. What kind of part are they stamping? So we have to take all that into account when we're doing the retrofit. Power requirements can be unique too. That some of them are running on 230 volt systems, some are 460, so we have to take all that into account.
Well, we are a Bosch Rexroth distributor. Bosch Rexroth is our partner. What role do they play? Are they an equipment provider, and then we add the engineering?
Yes, they are. They provide the materials. They've done a great job of giving us pretty close to exact replacements for The technology, a lot of times, almost every one we've done so far, the motor actually bolts right up to the old, either it's a gearbox or whatever you're interfacing with. It bolts right up in very little rework done.
Not a lot of mechanical rework.
Correct.
You're saying that the secret sauce is in the controls.
Yes. Yes.
And that's where the engineering and the software work is.
Yes. Now there are applications when we've gone after competitors, and we can retrofit theirs as well. Just takes a little bit of more of a mechanical effort there. We have to design adapt. We have to adapt to their system. So we have a great mechanical team here that can do that work for us. And
so it's not just Bosch Rexroth obsolete products that we're working on. It's competitive product as well?
Absolutely.
It's interesting. So do you give me an example? Tell me about some people that we've gone out and worked with on this.
Out in on the west side of Michigan in the furniture industry, there's a series. It's kind of interesting. There was one company and they had 5 spin-offs, and they're all doing the same thing, and they're all making, generally they call them deep draw parts, like lock sets for the office furniture market would be a common application. But generally they're doing round parts, and they have what's called a zigzag feed, which is basically the steel indexes into the press, and then it indexes sideways. There's 2 motions, and it basically it helps them save money on the metal. There's not as much scrap when you do it this way. So these guys developed the industry out on the west side of Michigan, and for whatever reason, one spun off from the other, and then the next one spun off. But there's literally 5 of them out there, and each of them is anywhere between 75 and 100 stamping presses per.
Is this applicable to other industries besides just the?
Absolutely. We're actually doing a good sized project in the automotive industry right now. Same thought process, and it's an upgrade to a large automated CNC process in the powertrain market, and it's a high volume application and technology. The line was built literally in the 1970s, and we're dealing with drawings that are some are before AutoCAD. So, wow. But we're taking the latest and greatest technology and adapt it. We're in the middle of that, doing that right now, and it's a big saver, and it's on a very hot selling product that it's not going away. So,
well, you've talked about some Michigan-based opportunities. As we look at the future, what does the future look like? Is the future limited by geography?
No, not at all. The auto industry has spread its wings in the southern United States. There's the European transplants they really have a strong hold, and at Morrell, our product base, we have quite a few European-based products. So the doors are open to us for any maybe machine builder who may be in the Michigan, in our territory here, that's doing work down with the Mercedes, the BMW and Volkswagen operations down there. But
so in 3 years from now, 4 years, 5 years from now, looking ahead in the future, are we going to have other people crawling around machines taking nameplate? What does the future look like?
I'm excited to still do it. I have hopefully quite a few years left of doing it, but I think it's a good application for a young engineer to learn, because he's learning a lot of different cross section of technologies, everything from controls, electrical engineering, mechanical, and he's not going to get into he's going to learn a lot of things and not get in too much trouble while he's learning the skill. But
sounds like an open-ended prospect.
I don't see it going away anytime soon, and I think people are going to spend money on retrofit versus buying $50 million new line. The automotive line I was speaking of, it would be a $50 million process, and they're probably spending $1 million on retrofitting, and it's going to be work just as it did, when it was put in day one.
Better than new.
Better than, yeah.
John, fascinating. Thank you so much for taking time to come in and talk to us about it.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. To learn more about Morrell Group's roll feed retrofit solution, visit morrell-group.com. Don't forget to subscribe to Evolution and Controls on whatever platform you use for podcasts or on YouTube for a video version, so you can be updated when we release new episodes. Thank you again for joining us today. I'm Tim Wilson, and remember, keep moving.